Rumors have been swirling over the last few days about Dame Lillard to the point that he and CJ McCollum started shooting down the rumors on Twitter. And then yesterday at USA Basketball Media Availability, Dame was asked this question. I want to get the question right because it refers to his answer. He said the question was, quote, would you give back money?
About the situation as I could possibly be. And, you know, things have just continued to come out. Oh, Dame said, you know, he's 75-25 or something. And Dame is excited about this. Dame is going to, you know, give back money. Like, I've seen everything, and I have not said any of these things. So
can I ask if you would do that?
If I would do what?
Actually give back money off of your current contract?
Why would I do that?
I don't know, but it was suggested, so I'm just asking.
No.
So you can't give back money off of your contract, but you could sit out, and then you don't get paid when you sit out. So I believe that was the origin there. It came from a True Hoop story, and that Dame actually pushed back specifically on that story on Twitter. This is a lot of round the circle ways of saying, Perk, what do you think is going on here with Dame and CJ taking all of these reports head on and addressing them? Do you think that that's a good idea for them, or do you think they should just kind of let the noise stay out there?
Well, one thing about it is that Dame been doing this since he came in the league. He's been very outspoken. He's a guy that is not afraid to go back and forth with people on Twitter, on social media. This is who Dame Dollar is. Now, my advice to Damian Lillard is now it's about time for those rumors to start to be true. He needs to speak out, because after watching Russell Westbrook get traded to the Lakers, this should be an eye-opener for Dame and say, hey, what's next for me? Again, he's 31 years of age, and I just don't see the Portland Trail Blazers getting any better. No disrespect to CJ McCollum. And I understand that Damian Lillard, he is a guy that said he don't want to run from the grind. And he's not running, okay? Right now I'm telling him to sprint, take off as fast as he can and go find another destination and go find somewhere where you know you could actually contend for a title and be a title favorite, a contender. So, you know, my advice to Dame is it's about that time.
Look, as much as any star in sports, Damian Lillard deserves the benefit of the doubt. If he wants to address these reports publicly and address them specifically, by the way, he should do that. He can do whatever he wants. And it was shocking for me to read, and he never struck me as the kind of player who would sit out games and take fines. Dame is a pro. He's a team player, and I think the Blazers are frankly counting on that. That's what they're banking on for Dame. Dame's going to be a pro through all of this. He's not going to tank his value and all that stuff. So, look, Dame can handle this however he wants. He's earned the benefit of the doubt. And the bottom line is, we can read every tea leaf and every tweet and every Instagram post and every anonymous source and all this. He's either going to get traded or he won't. He's either going to ask for a trade or he won't. We'll eventually find out. Let's just see it play out.
The thing that's hard, though, about, quote, asking for a trade in Damian Lillard's situation is that Supermax just kicks in this year, Zach, right, I believe? So he doesn't really control where he goes. We've seen some players who have been able to say, I want to go here. And because of the value left on their contract, other teams don't want to trade for him if that guy does not want to stay with their team. They don't want to give up all those assets if the guy's just going to leave in a year. Damian Lillard has a lot of years left on his contract. I assume, Zach, that then if he did go to the Blazers with a trade request, they could deal him anywhere, including to a team that feels like they could never get a big star and is in a smaller market that right now doesn't have a lot of championship aspirations. Is that true?
They could, and certainly that's been speculated that Portland has a lot of power here and a lot of leverage here, more so than when a player's in the last year or the second to last year of his deal. But there's also the optics, right? Remember how Oklahoma City was so accommodating? Hey, Chris Paul, where do you want to go? This is Damian Lillard. Teams are rarely in the business of dealing franchise players who have done so much for the team, so much for the community, to Siberia where they don't want to go, to a losing team where they don't want to go. So yes, in theory, the Blazers have a lot of power, and I think they do have a lot of power. They do have the luxury of time. But I don't think when push comes to shove, they're just going to deal Damian Lillard wherever. I think it would require conversation. Hey, this team X that's not very good, that's maybe in a city you don't want to be in, they're offering us way more than anybody else. What do you think? I just don't think they're just going to say, Dame, we have the power, you're going there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not presenting it as if they would just sort of angrily ship him off. And I would not call any NBA market Siberia, Zach Lowe, but I do think that it is a riskier proposition to ask for a trade if you are a player with a lot of years on your contract. Because at some point, while I know that teams do often want to do the right thing by the players that have meant so much to their franchise, there is still the reality that that general manager would like to keep his job. And that if he makes a deal where he ships off Dame and doesn't get much in return, or doesn't get as much in return as it then becomes known around the NBA, because everything becomes known around the NBA, that he could have gotten a much better deal somewhere else, that will affect that person's job security. So I do think it's a more complex thing than just Dame should go in there and ask for a trade. There's a lot of moving parts, and you wonder whether Portland wants to get into the Ben Simmons business, which is a nice segue to our next topic, Zach. Because the draft came and went without a Ben Simmons trade. How long do you expect this to drag on between Simmons and the Sixers now that there has been sort of public acknowledgement that they are looking for a deal and that Ben and his agent Rich Paul are okay with them looking for a deal with another team?
Look, we know the Sixers are asking for a whole lot, whether it's players and picks. I don't think they have anything close right now. I don't think they had anything close last night. As of now, I would expect this to linger into the summer, which could get a little awkward as training camp approaches. But look, you just mentioned, Rachel, free agency starting in like 48 hours or something.
Right.
All sorts of chaos is going to happen. We don't know who's going to go where. Things could change in 48 hours. Something could happen to a team that makes them want to get into the Ben Simmons trade. Something could happen to Philly that makes them more willing to trade Ben Simmons. But as of right now, this feels like it's going to linger for a while because I don't think they've really had any traction anywhere.
You know what? It could go for a little while, but I don't think Daryl Moore is going to let it travel into training camp. I mean, watching the James Harden situation, you don't want that effect on your team, right? Philly is still a good team. They still have Embiid. They still have Tobias Harris. And if you can move Ben Simmons and get back some valuable assets, and I'm not talking about, trying to market him like he's Wilt Chamberlain, right? Or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because if he's that good, Rachel, you might.
So guys, stop me if you've heard this one before. Damian Lillard, he's very good at the basketball. This is just, I'm going to go out there on a limb. I'm going to have a take here. Dame Lillard smoking. NBA teams interested in trading for him if he happens to become available. Now, according to Derek Bodner of The Athletic, the Sixers are the latest team to try to make a play to acquire Dame. They're, of course, shopping fellow All-Star Ben Simmons. So there's a lot to unpack here, Kendrick. I will start with you. Do you think Dame to the Sixers is even a realistic trade discussion?
I do. Look, where there's smoke, there's fire, okay? And Dame put ownership on the front office. He said, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to watch what y'all do during the draft, I'm going to watch what y'all do during free agency. And to be honest, they failed. They actually failed. They didn't really do nothing. You look at the Denver Nuggets, they improved their roster. You look at the Lakers, they improved their roster. Even the Utah Jazz, they improved their roster. Phoenix Suns signing back CP3. I thought a huge pickup for them was picking up the veteran in JaVale McGee, just in case DeAndre Ayton getting one of those funks again like he did in the finals.
Or just foul trouble.
Which is not right. When you get a veteran like JaVale McGee, but look, right now, and I hate to say it because I want Chauncey to be able to coach a superstar like Dame, but I think we're seeing Dame rap video come out because Dame, rapping for Dame is his therapy, right? Right now, and I just see it's a possibility it could happen. Ben Simmons is not answering the phone calls. He don't want to be with the 76ers, and from what I heard, he's willing not to report to training camp. And we'll go as far as it takes for him to get out of Philly. So I say we'll smoke his fire.
Did you see Perk just slip that in there at the end?
I did.
Can you say that last part again? You've heard that he is
willing not to show up to training camp, that he will not show up to training camp, and that he's willing to sit out for however long until he gets out of Philly.
Wow. So, can I put the eyes emoji on TV? That's what I would do to that conversation.
Let me give you the face.
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of feel like on the flip side, Perk, it's going to require that level of being adamant from Dame to get it done, because I just don't see why Portland would do it unless we respect all that you've given the city. We know we ain't got it while you're still in your prime. And I don't know if Portland is ready to kick the can in that way. And is Dame dug in terms of this thing potentially being reminiscent to what we saw James Harden have to do? The trade in and of itself is excellent if you're the Philadelphia 76ers.
Sure.
Right.
I just don't know if Portland is there.
I think that's the key, too. If you were the Portland Trailblazers, you might not get another player like Damian Lillard for, what, 10 years, 20 years? How long did it take Milwaukee to get Giannis after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? 40 years? So there's no guarantee you're going to end up with another Damian Lillard anytime soon. So I just think for the Blazers, Dame would have to go and ask them for a trade. And that is the difficult position that some of these players are in. He's the one who signed that Supermax contract, so he is locked into that contract for another 4 years. And teams can trade you at any time, despite any contract that you sign. The players don't have that outlet, so they either can go and ask for a trade, but that puts the onus on them to feel like they're betraying their community and what's their loyalty, and there's all kinds of words that we fling around toward them. And then if they do what James did, then they're a malcontent. And it's a difficult position for these guys to be in, and the teams don't have that side.
Well, I mean, look, James is one example, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to the point of Kevin Garnett, right? Carried the Minnesota Timberwolves for however long, and he turned 31 years of age and said, you know what, this is not it for me. And he said it at his Hall of Fame speech. The only regret that I have is not asking for a trade or coming to Boston sooner to try to win championships. And Damian Lillard is 31. Like, he don't want to have those regrets if he's really adamant about winning a championship.
Yep, it is going to be interesting. We will keep watching, and especially